Hey, YouTube world. We are back from, I guess, a little hiatus. I don't know. It's been a couple days. Please download all of our episodes with the links below. So, headline this morning, and this is truly a COVID-19 headline right here. The University of Michigan president announcing that with no students on campus in the fall, which is becoming increasingly unlikely at the University of Michigan, there will be no football. They will not bring the students back if they have online school in the fall. And I have to say, this is finally a college or university showing some common sense. Very strange that it had to come from the University of Michigan, one of the, I don't want to say the classic programs in college football, but they're up there pretty high on the blue bloods of college football. Odd enough, it took them to finally instill some common sense in the rest of the world. But anyways, as we bring things full circle, we're going to see more schools be put in these positions. Obviously, Oklahoma is in a position where they have already scheduled to bring back their students in June as college athletes go. The SEC can open for voluntary practices beginning June 8th. And for the rest of the school, well, voluntary practices, first of all, I want to talk about voluntary practices because voluntary practices in and of themselves are already an issue because for a college athlete, when your scholarship is not guaranteed, when the coach can put you on the bench with no repercussions, unlike in the NFL where the players that get paid the money are going to play, it's something that Nick Saban talks about all the time, is that in the NFL, once the owner pays you, you're going to play. In college, that is not the case. There is no such thing as a voluntary workout for college. Those kids are going to be forced to go back to school in June, whether they want to or not. Now, maybe some are eager and clawing at the jaw to get back, and some don't want to do it. But the option is not theirs, even though they are unpaid college athletes. Okay, now that rant's out of the way, let's get into the other part with the schools. This is something that was inevitable and going to happen and should happen, but the prospect of college sports collapsing is another big issue. It's the reason why the Michigans and the Miamis of the world aren't at the top of the college football landscape, and it's not a bad thing. There are more important things than being great at college football, okay? This is not a shot in any way at those schools. The fact that Michigan and Miami are not at the top of college football anymore is because they prioritize other things over the sport now. Manny Diaz becomes the head coach not because the University of Miami wants to go hire the best coaches available. It's because they want to hire a guy that is going to be A, lovable to the fan base, or lovable just in terms of his persona, and B, they want to hire a guy with Miami roots. Michigan, same boat. They do go get Jim Harbaugh. They pay him a lot of money, but Michigan has a lot of money. And Michigan is far more concerned with things other than college football. It's been that way for about 20 years now. And that's the way it should be. This is not an indictment. I would rather follow the Michigan and the Miami model than the Alabama model. As a football fan, that's got to be tough for one of those when other schools are willing to go to greater lengths, like putting kids in jeopardy of, health issues, just to be able to maintain that hierarchy that they possess. And that's just the nature of college sports, and college football particularly, is that everyone is so in their own world at this point. It's a very fixed, narrow mindset. Not a fixed, narrow mindset. A narrow... God, I forgot what it is. A narrow, shortened mindset where you're focused on one thing and using that one goal to block out the rest of the world. It's how Mike Gundy gets embroiled in controversy and how Mike Leach falls victim to a lot of Twitter shaming. And as we see with the University of Michigan, and what we're going to see with other schools, is the fact that they're going to have to take that back seat and focus on other endeavors at this point, which is unfortunate if you're a fan of that school, but in reality, something that was probably necessary as we branch farther and farther into the coronavirus pandemic, and schools have to make legitimate decisions. I mean, shoot, where I'm from, the California state system, San Diego State, Fresno State, San Jose State, I don't know how they're going to be able to get around playing football this fall. They can push it to the spring and make it more plausible, and that's assuming second waves and things like that, that nobody knows what's going to happen. Imagine telling someone 4 months ago that we'd be in this situation we're in now. So no one knows the answers to any of those questions. So as far as you can answer the questions is to the fall. And for San Diego State, Fresno State, San Jose State, and what will inevitably be the University of Michigan, you can't have big-time college football. And this is just a trend that's going to continue throughout all these schools. Conferences are it's going to be an every man for themselves mentality, which you didn't join a conference to be a brotherhood of schools. You joined a conference for the financial benefits of it. This is what comes to a head, and you're willing to throw the other schools who aren't ready to play out to the wolves as soon as you get the opportunity. But again, Michigan is following suit with their morals and their principles, and it's a much, much better thing to do than the other schools that, maybe they can get around it with risky health, like public relations. They won't. Public relations wise, they'll be fine. Health wise, it could be a catastrophe, and the kids could be put in difficult situations, especially if they go to play during the summer, which a lot of these schools were doing anyways, but still, case in point, the fact that they can get around it PR-wise, and that's the only thing they care about. At least Michigan and the University of Miami and places like that, they at least hold a moral compass where they realize football is like the porch of the house, and the university is the house itself. And when the entire foundation is crumbling around the university, the first thing you should not be focusing on is the porch. Like, focus on the university and the things that are more important as a prestigious university. I mean, I don't mean to do that as a diss to Michigan. I kind of am saying, like, you can call yourself prestigious, but what does it mean by It's all a comparative thing. It's like the GOAT debate. A prestigious university isn't, there's no merit to that. There's no objective qualification that puts it in. Michigan is on the right path, and it's weird to see common sense in football, and that's usually it's a bad sign for a sport in the long run, but in the short run, they're about to feed some kids out to the wolves or to the virus to try and compete for keeping the system intact, and Michigan will most likely not be taking part in that case as we move forward.